Hippies of the 60s/70s, how did your life end up turning out?
My dad, aunt, and uncle were all big into the hippie movement. My dad, the oldest, was an anti-war protester banging around Ohio State in the late 60s/early 70s, while my uncle, the middle child, went off to LA to try to make it big in the rock scene, and my aunt, the youngest, relocated to Seattle and became a hardcore anti-war protester. What have they done since then? My dad got married, settled down, slowly drifted away from all the hallmarks of hippie culture, started a family, fell into a career in marketing, and his desire to reform society transformed into a desire to get away from society. He'll be turning 72 this year, and he is now a short-haired, Fox News watching, Trump-loving Republican who has a farm in northern Oklahoma. The only vestige of his hippie days left is that he started smoking pot again. My uncle got some good gigs but never made it as a musician, and eventually returned to Ohio and wound up becoming an electrician but could never get his life together. He had a live-in partner who he had a son with, but both eventually cut him out of their lives because his mental and physical health both kept going downhill. He gained a lot of weight and became severely diabetic. He hadn't paid taxes in 20 years, and that wound up royally fucking him over, so that by the end his life just completely fell apart. He used to be a happy, jolly, funny man, but by the end he was just bitter and angry at the world. He died in 2016. I never got to know my aunt that well for a lot of reasons that would take too long to lay out here, but she has stayed truest to her hippie roots. She still lives in Seattle and is still left-wing as hell, still involved in activism, and never really let that spirit die. I think the three of them represent an interesting spectrum of the post-hippie scene. All of them were a part of it, but all of them carried on afterwards in radically different ways.